Hello, everybody. Welcome to Team News, slightly delayed this evening here from Hillsborough. Traffic.
No.
Traffic.
No. You having to get your food, that's why it was delayed, my man.
I get very hangry. It is of course, fireworks night, and Norwich City are hoping to find a spark here this evening. I've been planning that in my head all day. So we don't just throw these things together. And we, of course, are here to bring you the Norwich City team news, which I'm sure many of you will have seen at this stage, but I'll run through it. It's Long in goal, Fisher, Duffy, Cordoba and Doyle as the back four. A midfield three of Sorensen, Schwartau and Marcondes. With Kade Gordon's first start for Norwich City. Sainz on the left and Antti Sienats up front. And the subs bench, Mayer, Stacey, Hanley, Kruzene, Mahovo, Forson, Springett, Miles and Fashnat. So lots to dissect again, probably around those midfield areas, Paddy. And I think with obviously the news that came yesterday from Johannes Hoftorup that Gabe Forsyth was missing because he obviously sustained a foot injury, unlike maybe some of the other injuries that Norwich have got. That was a contact injury suffered at Cardiff. And that's meant another reshuffle, I guess, that sees Oscar Schwartau partner Emiliano Marcondes and Jakob Sorensen in an all-Danish central midfield.
Yeah, with, as you say, then opening up a spot on the right of the forward three for Gordon. Gordon, Sainz and Cernach. Or rather, Gordon, Cernach, Sainz. But, yeah, that's graphically illustrating that these are difficult times for Norwich, and even young Miles on the bench. Yet more youth injected onto that bench with Kruzene and Mahovo and Springett, Mayer, even Forson to a degree. But they're the cards we've been dealt in terms of Norwich, and you know, of the available options tonight, that probably is about as strong as he goes, with the caveat there's no way Sorensen could go 90 again, so he's going to have to shuffle up again. Depends on the game state, but are we in another situation where he looks at it, and as he said to Sam yesterday, we went to a 3-5 because we basically overpopulated with defenders at present. So are we in that territory again, or will he think, no, maybe we need to be a bit more front-footed if it gets into that situation again tonight? And if so, be a great story if Manqua Forson could come on and do something positive, because he's having a tough time, as Johannes spoke about yesterday. But yeah, I don't think once the Gabe Forsyth injury was confirmed, I think most of us probably would have thought he'd go that route, because Schwartau feels more of a natural player in the centre of the park, certainly in a deeper role to the one he operated on Saturday. And then there's been a few people, me probably included, been looking forward to Kade Gordon starting a game, because I think in a lot of cameos, my mind goes back to the, not all that long ago now, the Preston game, where they're 2-0 down after 12. Borja gets them back just before half time, and then he made the change and he brought Gordon on. And I thought he added something, as he has done at Carrow Road when he's come on. Got his goal against Watford, was it, I think? Or it might have been Hull, I forget. But there's a player of some ability. Otherwise, he wouldn't be at Liverpool. He wouldn't have made his debut under Klopp. So, as Johannes has said in his last few days, opportunity knocks for some of these young players. Gabe Forsyth, sadly, did take his opportunity, I thought, on Saturday. And through no fault of his own now, he's going to maybe be out for a period. But tonight it's Kade Gordon. Can you take this opportunity? He must be chomping at a bit, because he's come here as a lone player, expecting or hoping to get game time, and he's not had a really huge amount of minutes. But tonight he takes a step forward, and we might look back at this game as the game when he really announced himself, and let's hope that is the case, because there's clearly a player of some ability there.
Yes, I can see a few comments about Ken Abbo. We'll come to that in a moment. But you're right. I mean, Kade Gordon, somebody who obviously is on a first loan from Liverpool. They're notoriously difficult, as played Championship football as a very, very young man at Derby. I agree with you. Certainly some of those early appearances. I remember when he came on against Leeds, and that game was one-way traffic, really. He came on and helped Norwich to maybe change and swing the momentum into their favour late on. And obviously they had opportunities to potentially win that game that ended as a draw. So a big opportunity. But actually, you look at that team, you look at that midfield, you look at those wide areas, there's probably an argument that maybe he's slightly better in terms of balance than the one that we saw on Saturday that obviously had Oscar Schwartau on the right. It's two natural wide options. They're three obviously natural central midfield options. And I think we've both probably been quite impressed with Oscar Schwartau and what he can do. And I think from what we've seen of his body of work so far at Norwich City, he's looked more better and more comfortable in that central area than probably he has on the right.
Yeah, I mean, when he first came in, Johannes was saying, well, he thinks he's more of a progressive, arriving in the box late type of player. It's a lot easier to affect the play from those central areas than it is sort of, if you're playing naturally in those wider positions, you're almost, you're not getting on the end of things. And he has that. We saw there was that incident at 3-3 against Borough, where I think it was Doyle and it was Science, and he was there near post and, didn't quite adjust his body in front of the Barclay. But that instinct to get in the box is going to have far more opportunity for me by playing in those central areas. I think the experience of Sorensen is massive there tonight. Just to almost, sit and let the likes of Swartow and Marcondes maybe be a bit more expansive. I just hope, because he is a young man, but, that I'm sure Glenn and Johannes have been speaking to him going into tonight, that a little bit of positional discipline as well. There's no point in going empty in your midfield and leaving Sorensen fighting fires. If we can see a bit of tactical discipline from him, everything else he seems to have. He's got the physicality, he's got that energy, and he's very good technically. So there's definitely a player there. And, at the risk of repeating myself, Kade Gordon tonight, maybe Swartow tonight. These are younger players who want to put their hand up and say, no, I know maybe if all the senior players was available, I'd be on the bench. But no, I'm here now and I want to stay. So great stage for you to go out and prove that tonight, isn't it?
Yeah, and in terms of opportunity knocking, anti-Cernat, which probably leads us on to the striker conversation more broadly, because not only is it an opportunity for him tonight, it's an opportunity over the next 8 weeks after that news about Josh Sargent yesterday, which I think is probably as bad as we or anybody else could have anticipated on that. A groin injury that requires surgery that's going to keep him out likely until 2025. It's a lot of load on his shoulders, Josh Sargent. The muscle injuries are obviously mounting for Norwich City. There are some which I think are down to luck. You look at someone like Angus Gunn, who gets a side strain catching a ball. But then you look at Marcelino Nunez, for example. Josh Sargent, I think, played 7 games in October and had a trip to the US in there. I mean, all of this takes its toll, but I guess all of this is a roundabout way of saying what a chance it is for Antti Cernats to stake a claim as in a central position, which is the position that Norwich City recruited him for, but equally was the one that he played in Poland last year.
At times, yeah. I don't think he was an out-and-out central striker, but again, you look at him, you look at the profile of player he is and what his strengths are, and if the midfield sort of array around him give him that platform and give him the type of service, I think there was just that one incident just before he got hooked on Saturday where he's turned, he's drove, he's let a shot get away from about 18, 20 yards, and Anik, the keeper, he's not getting it. It's just inside the post. Unfortunately, he went the other side, and they are the fine margin, because I think that was where I asked Johannes directly after the game how he felt he'd done, and more or less he was happy with a lot of what he saw from him, but he needs goals. If he's in that position, he's going to be measured by goals and assists to a lesser extent. And to be fair, it was a lovely through ball for the Science/Stacey chance that came from, a player of some technical ability and having that awareness. So, I don't know, the more I see him, I just see a young lad. And a little bit like the Forson sort of debate yesterday, confidence is massive with these younger players, particularly when you're coming into a new country, new culture, everything that goes with it off the pitch. And just a shot of confidence from a goal or two, what that might do for Antti Cernats. Because I think we've seen now, anybody who's watched him, there's glimpses of maybe not an £8.5 million player, if we're being brutally honest, and, that will have to come down the track. But certainly a player who can affect a game of championship football, because he seems to have everything, the presence, the power. That he needs to work on a little bit of the physical side of it. He's been brushed off at challenges once or twice too easily for me so far, but that could come. And then obviously the technical ability and the speed and the drive that he's got. So, yeah, it's one of those, you can see a player in there, but he needs to now grasp a nettle. He needs to step forward. He needs to say, right, Josh Sargent isn't available until, and if Ashley Barnes comes into the equation, I'm going to take my chance here, and I'm going to be the main man, and I'm going to lead that attacking unit. Because if he doesn't, I don't know where we're going to go. I mean, if it's not Antti Cernats,
I've got my boots on the bag, just in case.
But on a serious note, I mean, if it's not Antti Cernats, who is going to lead Norwich's line for the next 8 weeks?
Marcondes?
Really? Yeah.
Well, he, on the basis that I think Johannes said that he could play there, but could play there and does play there are two different things.
Again, for me, no. I mean, it was only slightly tongue in cheek, but Onel Hernandez didn't do too bad a job in the Stevenage League Cup tie. He potentially could be back this week, if not the other side of the international break. But the reality is, and it's absolutely no disrespect meant to Onel, but if you're talking about Onel Hernandez as your championship striker, you're in a bad place, because that's not how it should be for a squad or a club with the pretense of wanting to be in the championship promotion picture. To be this threadbare now, is a concern. Thank you
very much.
And I'm sure. I mean, Giannis sort of dead batted it yesterday, but I'm sure they're already looking at January, because I don't see now, even when Sargent returns, this is underlined it for me that they are in dire need. What's the problem, mate?
Barely see it.
Yeah, it's a small team sheet.
I've not utilised the full paper there, but anyway, it's fine.
This is a good point from Andy, though. I've just seen this in the comments.
Yeah, I was going to flag that, because I think there is.
True,
I saw someone posted a Premier League. I think it might have been Andrew Bamadelli against Leeds. From the set piece, and you see Josh Sargent there, and you look at his physicality, and he's a lot slimmer. He's a lot probably leaner. Maybe is the correct word.
Sorry, no.
What's that one?
Just another one's dropped in here. What's this all about, Neil? What you talking about?
Yeah, we coordinate our haircuts, so we make sure we're in touch and that we have them at the same time. I think is what he's alluding to.
Yeah.
But all of this sort of striker debate brings us on to Kennebow, because at the moment, Carrow Road, Norwich are 2-0 down, I think, against FC Northland's youngsters. Kennebow is playing. Yeah. Kennebow is playing as part of a front three that also includes Errol Mundell, Smith, and Brandon Forbes. Obviously, Kennebow is on loan at Stevenage at this moment in time, and from what we gather, because he's playing for the under-21s tonight, that doesn't mean that he's available for Norwich City's first team squad, because as often these loans work window to window, he is a Stevenage player until January, really come what may.
Yeah, well, we checked that. Obviously, when the team news dropped, 5 o'clock-ish tonight, and that is very much, he's back at Norwich. I think you flagged rightly, he'd had a bit of an injury. Didn't start a game against Peterborough, and then he had to come off for Stevenage, and then he's not appeared since. I can't confess, I don't know what the injury issue there was, but maybe he's come back to his parent club, rehabbed, and then they've got these games now and good levels of opposition. It's a bit of a step up from PL2, development level football, which he was excelling at last season. So it does make sense, and he's eligible to be able to play for his parent club in this competition tonight. What he isn't allowed to do is be a first-team option, certainly until the January window opens. And then who knows? We're just last segment talking about without Sargent, where do they go? Do they go looking in the window? But maybe they also part of that equation is Kennebow gets recalled from Stevenage. But just to clarify, no, this side of January window,
not an option.
Not an option.
Yeah. Correct. Important to clear that up. Right, let's see if we can bring you the Sheffield Wednesday team, and I think we can. They, of course, were beaten here 6-2 by Watford at the weekend, so they'll be keen to see a response. They've got Beadle in goal, Valerie, Iorfa, Bernard and Lowe. There was some conversation, certainly amongst Sheffield Wednesday fans, that Bernard might miss this game, because I think he's on 4 yellow cards, and they've obviously got a relatively big game on Sunday against Sheffield United, but they are risking him, and he does start. Charles and Barry Bannon, their midfield too. Ingleson and Johnson, either side of Windass and Ugbo up front. Their subs bench, Pierce Charles, Liam Palmer, Jamal Lowe, Callum Patterson, Paul Valentin, Michael Smith, who I think was the guy who came on last year and caused Norwich some real problems in that 2-2 draw. Gabriel Otabago, Jeji Gassama and Anthony Masaba make up Sheffield Wednesday's bench. It's been a mixed start for them, hasn't it? I think there's probably a lot of anticipation after the job that Danny Royal did here last year to navigate them away from relegation pretty comfortably in the end, really, and probably one of the best individual managerial performances in the Championship overall from when he inherited them from Xisco Munoz, and I think you were 8 games in and hadn't won and were conceding goals pretty readily to then stay up was pretty impressive. But I think there was maybe a little bit of excitement and expectation that potentially they could kick on, but it looks like another season, probably a consolidation at this level for them.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if they keep getting whacked 6-2 at home, it might be looking over the shoulder again. Yeah, I mean, Adam spoke to a Wednesday fan on Terrace Talk, and they were almost agog at sort of the sums that Norwich players were moving on for in the summer. And I suppose also we talked about Cernach, what Norwich could commit, because if you look at Sheffield Wednesday down a number of years now, that hasn't been the case. I think also I remember Adam saying that the Owls fan is talking about almost trying to generate funds right now by selling season tickets for next season, bespoke kits, 3rd edition kits, all of that.
Does buy one?
Not for Sheffield Wednesday, the Hugh, mate. No, definitely not.
One shade of blue for you, isn't it?
Exactly, yeah. But so it doesn't feel. I mean, obviously we only parachute in here once a season, but you look around. I'll keep my voice down a degree, as we're not far. We're not far, but it's seen better days. This place, hasn't it? Let's be honest. And maybe
there's a lick of pain, isn't
it? More than that, yeah. And maybe that also applies metaphorically to the squad that they've got here. When Barry Bannon is still, like put on a pedestal as good player though he has been.
I think nearly 500 appearances.
Yeah, no, he's been a tremendous servant, but the reliance on him would be worrying if you're looking at it from a Sheffield Wednesday perspective. And you're right, Roll almost did buck the trend and maybe extract the absolute maximum from that group of players last season, and so far it hasn't happened. And it just feels like a bit of a tired football club to me. So they'll probably win tonight now, but there you go. But over the entirety of this season, it's hard to see them maintaining maybe that curve that Danny Roll had them on towards the back end of last season.
Agreed. This is going to be tough for Norwich. I think we're all of that opinion. Not just because of the situation they're in with injuries. It's the context, of course, of those players coming in. Jakob Sørensen having played 75 minutes. When Johannes admitted they probably kept him on a little bit longer than initially planned, to then have to go again and to put in another performance as the Norwich City players emerge for their warm-up down below us. You look at Kade Gordon, first start. There's a lot of players in there who maybe haven't played a lot of football from the off, and so there isn't a lot of form players beyond, obviously, Borja Sainz. So it's an interesting dynamic, but also the place. This is a difficult place to come, I think, at any stage of the season, irrespective of how this club is performing. We saw that last year, Norwich taking a two-goal lead here, and then obviously giving that up in the second half and walking away with a draw. How's it going to go tonight, Paddy? All of those elements make it very, very difficult.
I mean, in the end, I was correct in I thought Cardiff would win, but obviously, by the late carnage, that's an unbelievable result in the circumstances from Norwich if they'd have managed to hold on. So, I'm going to be slightly more positive tonight, and even allowing for even more issues in terms of Gabe Forsyth and the sort of mental blow as much as anything else of no Sargent for 8 weeks. I think they're going to dig something out here. I mean, you asked me on the pod, what would we get from today and Bristol City, or what would be a reasonable return? I thought 4 points from these two. So I think they'll beat Bristol, and hopefully I think they'll get a point tonight. And what you have to remember, as I say, and the point's been made here, they will come out probably sore from being embarrassed at home. So there has to be a positive response. But if they don't get that, if Norwich stay in the game, ideally if Norwich get their noses in front, this crowd, what are they going to do? This home fan base has seen their team leak 6 goals on Saturday. If they fall behind again, it might get a little bit toxic. So if that is the case, then Norwich can play on that. So, yeah, I think all things being considered, that 11 for Norwich is more than capable of getting a result here tonight. So 1-1, 2-2. You?
Yeah, I'm sort of edging towards draw, stroke maybe Wednesday win. I just hope Norwich can maybe do what they didn't do on Saturday and dig in and get a result over the line. That would be really good. So, yeah, I'm probably going to go for a 1-1, I think, tonight. A couple of questions on here. Let's start with the Onel one, because he has uploaded, he's on YouTube like us, and obviously produces these very insightful vlogs. And he has said that he hopes to be back for Saturday. So that's all we've got on that basis. So hopefully, and in terms of Kenny McLean's FA charge, Paddy, I think, and we've been saying throughout this that we probably felt he would get an extra game. Sounds like that's the way it is going.
Yeah, we don't want to be the bearer of even more bad tidings, but having spoken to 1 or 2 people here at Hillsborough tonight, the sense is that the FA are probably going to recommend an additional game ban,
which would be West Brom away.
Yeah, exactly. So, from bad to worse, really, because 3 games without him is bad enough, but to tag on another one, and that one being West Brom away, but for a penny and for a pound. So, yeah, that's turned into a very costly episode, that tackle and maybe reaction to it. So, to be confirmed, it sounds like they're expecting as a club another 1 game on top of the 3 games.
Deep joys. It's not quite bad that we've ended up on the bench, but who knows? Maybe on Saturday our chance will come. Pinker.com, of course, the place to go throughout the evening. We'll bring you all the analysis, reaction. Paddy will be speaking to Johannes post game as well to maybe provide hopefully a little bit. Hopefully more positive fitness bulletin about some of the guys mentioned in this broadcast, potentially either for Saturday or after the break. But ultimately, let's hope Norwich City can find some fireworks of their own as they go off around us and come away from Hillsborough with something. Thanks for watching. See you soon.